The name of this SMART lesson is the 50 Nifty United States, and right here it just is the title slide, and it gives the title of the lesson, and it gives credit to the teacher who made it and what school she's from. It gives the lesson and grade level and then the lesson objective, and I like that it gives the objective because you can use that to turn into a student-friendly learning target. The next slide is the teacher notes slide, and it just kind of gives the subject, the topic, the grade, the prior knowledge that your students need to know before they get into this SMART lesson, and cross-curricular links, so they need to be familiar with maps and they need to have maps. And then it just gives some notes about this lesson, and then a website for more maps and interactive activities if you have kids that finish early or if you just need more examples of things to do with your kids in this subject. This right here is one of the first interactive slides that the kids actually get to use. Using one of the pens, write as many names of the states that you know that make up the United States of America. And kids can click on one of the pens. And then it depends on how you want to use this. If you want your kids to just do the quick abbreviations or if you want your kids to actually write out the whole state name, it depends on how you want to use it. So it's kind of up to the teacher discretion, which I like because a lot of the SMART notebooks are really specific, and this one's kind of left up to the teacher discretion, which makes it more user-friendly per classroom. Right here it gives a compass rose, and obviously the kids would have worked on this before because you need to, it gives you what it is, but you need to be familiar with this because you actually do an activity. You have a partner and a map of the United States, and you create questions using the compass rose. And the next two slides are examples. And the first one is, the state of Kansas is located in the southwest area of the United States. So you have your kids, they can either, if you're doing this as a whole group, you could have your kids raise their hand, or you could use clicker system if you have those, or if your kids are doing this themselves, they can actually manipulate and use the pens. Once they've answered, then it says slide button to show answer, and it gives the answer. False. Kansas is located in the middle of the United States. So they can self-check. And then the next one, Ohio is located in the northeast part of the United States. So we'll have your kids answer. Slide again, and the answer is true. So they get instant knowledge as to whether or not they got that answer correct. This activity I really like because the students actually get to use these little green bars at the bottom and manipulate them to move them into the regions of the United States. So we'll just randomly click on them. And once you answer all of these, then the kids can click check, and the ones that are correct are the green arrows, and the ones that are incorrect are the red X's, and then they can move them back down. They can move them back down, and they can try it again, and then you can reset it. So say you don't want them to know, they just guessed these, and you can actually reset this. Or you can click solve, and it'll actually give you the answers. It's kind of depending on what you need, what your students need, how you use the check, reset, and solve buttons at the top. But I like that it instantly lets the kids know without needing to get the teacher's help or without needing any other reference. They can just click check, and they can get instant feedback as to whether or not they know where their regions of the United States. This right here, you click on the star, and it says, study this chart before moving on to the next page. This is the states and their abbreviations, and your kids would need to know these before because the next activity is actually testing this skill. So this wouldn't be for an initial lesson, this would be a review. So study this chart before moving on to the next page. You obviously don't think 4th, 5th, and 6th graders are going to memorize all of these abbreviations in this one sitting. So this would have been a review. And then you click on this slide, and the kids get to actually manipulate again. They actually get to choose a pen, and then they draw a line. So over here are the abbreviations, and over here are the states. So say you know that this is Vermont and Georgia and Alabama, and then it's the same thing over here. So you match this with Texas, Hawaii, and this with Hawaii. And then once they get these finished, there's a little thing over here that says when you're done. You click back with the arrow. You drag it out and it says after you are finished with this activity, go to the next page to view the answer key. So just like the other activity, they can instantly see how they did, and it just gives them the abbreviations correctly matched with the states. The next slide, you can click on this right here. Make this a little bit bigger, and it says with a partner, verbally identify as many of the 50 states as you can. If you forget some of the state names, click on the icon and listen to the song that might help to jog your memory. Once you are sure you have identified the state correctly, use the eraser tool to reveal. So say that I know that this is Texas. It says use the eraser tool, erase it, and there's Texas. And the same with Florida and Alabama and Louisiana. So the kids actually work backwards. Instead of writing the names of the states, they use a different tool to erase. I like this down here because if you have kids that maybe don't know their states as well, or if you have kids that just genuinely forget them, you can click on this little icon. So they can use that to get a reminder. So say they think they have all of these states and they don't have this one, and they hear Alabama and they remember, oh, it's Alabama. So they can actually use music to help them. And then if they really are lost, they can just erase and say, oh, okay, that's Michigan. This activity down here, it's a study helper. And you click on here for the practice directions. On your blank map given to you by the teacher, write the name of as many states as you know. So you would just have this colorful map up here as a visual, and then the students actually are given a blank map, and the students write the names of the states. And this is helpful for the final activity, which is the final assessment. And you click on here for your directions, and it says, write each of the names of each state on its correct location on the map. Spelling counts. Recheck your work before you are sure that you are finished. They don't actually write them on here, especially because spelling counts, they're actually writing them all out, and there's no way they could write these little states. So they are given a blank map. I like this because a lot of times it can be difficult, especially depending on your classes or how you're using this activity. It can be really difficult to see which kids got all of these correct, which kids missed these. You could have some kids over here and you're trying to see how they did on these. I like that the final assessment is actually written down on paper. The teacher can collect it, and it's a tangible visual for the teacher to say, this is where the kids are, this is where they need work. Maybe they don't know, the Northeast region, and you need to spend more time on that. So I like that it's actually using this as a visual, but there's actually a tangible assessment for the teacher to collect.